Hello, family and friends, здравейте! Today I will show you how to make the most delicious and easy Eastern bread. Easter is tomorrow, and I will give you some good tips for most successful bread that will be soft like cotton, and your family will really enjoy it. So stay with me. The first step for your successful bread is to activate the yeast. This is very important part because if you don't activate it correctly, your bread is not going to be nice and fluffy, and it's not gonna be a good bread. It's gonna be heavy and not good bread. You need to use warm liquid. In my case, I use warm milk. You need to use 3 packages of dry yeast. I use the Rapid Rice dry yeast in my case. Another very important ingredient is to use a teaspoon of sugar and about 3 to 4 spoons of flour, which will help to activate the yeast. And then your product that you are looking for is the yeast to increase 2-3 times and have a bubbles on the top. If you don't see that, you need to start all over again. Raising the yeast is very important part of making a successful and delicious bread. And this is the porridge that you will have after you mix the yeast, the sugar, milk and flour. Now I'm going to leave it for about 10 minutes on a warm place to let the yeast activate and work, increase 2-3 times and start bubbling on the top. And next step is to mix our liquid ingredients. I have 5 large eggs in this bowl. Also, I have 300 milligrams of sugar together with zest of 1 lemon. I like my bread to be more sweeter, so I add 50 milligrams of liquid sweetener. I used hazelnut coffee sweetener, but you can make your own with sugar and water. I don't add extra sugar because it will make my dough heavy and will not let rise and be a good bread. I also like to add a couple teaspoons of brandy to make the bread better, not to drink it, and also 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And the last ingredients I added was the 50 milligrams of warm yogurt. Again, all ingredients needs to be warm for a successful bread, and 50 milligrams of softened butter, not liquid, softened. And this is what you're looking for as a final product after you mix them with the mixture. This is the texture that you will have because of the softened butter. And now we're going to add to our liquid ingredients the activated yeast, and you might see this is the product, the final product that we have after the yeast was activated. Increase the volume 2-3 times, have bubbles on the top. It's great, ready to be mixed. And we will add the 8 cups of flour. Some of this flour we added earlier to the yeast. We'll add the flour on portions to the liquid ingredients, and you might watch me how to do it next. Okay, now I'm going to add the activated yeast to my egg mixture, my liquid ingredients that I mixed earlier. Okay, it's a really nice thick porridge, which is great for our bread. Okay. The next step is for us to add 8 cups of flour on portions. We used some of this flour in our yeast earlier. The recipe is calling for 8 cups, so I'm going to add a few tablespoons of flour. I will mix it, and I'll continue doing that until I use all of the flour and make my dough mixture. You need to dissolve the flour before add more. And I will change my spoon with a wooden spoon. The best spoon for mixing a dough is a wooden spoon. And this is the sticky dough that you will have after you add the flour on portions. You wanna be sticky, not too sticky. I place it on flour. This is the leftover flour from the 8 cups of flour that we started with. Now I'm going to knead it for a few more minutes to make sure I have a soft and a little sticky, but again not so sticky to the countertop, very soft dough to absorb a little more of the flour. And after that, it's another very important step of kneading this dough, adding a second fat, which I have about 50 milliliters of sunflower. You can use different oil, but I have sunflower oil that is used in Bulgaria. You have to use oil that is doesn't have a smell. Like if you use olive oil, you have a smell of olive, so you don't want to use olive oil for sure. Now my dough is sticky, which is okay. You don't want to you want a sticky dough, which makes the dough softer. Next, again, very important part, in order to have a soft like cotton dough, and also dough that when you cut the bread you can see the threads of this fresh baked bread. Next step is to kind of pull the dough on the sides, and okay, you might see this is what we have right now. And then you start adding some oil, a little bit, again on portions. We're gonna add about 50 milligrams of oil. You add the oil, you stretch the dough, and you fold it like an envelope, stretching, 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 and folding it, and then knitting for another couple minutes, the dough to absorb the oil. No more than a minute or less, a few more seconds, and then you can add a little more flour on your counter to not stick. Stretch again. This will make our dough really soft and will make the effect of threads, which we're looking for. Soft like cotton. That's the key for having this delicious bread, is to add your second fat on portions and pull the dough and fold it. This is a different technique than a regular bread. Regular bread, normally you will use different technique for kneading, and I can show my delicious regular bread recipe in another video. Each bread, it's like a science, and the final product and test is different. I grew up with a family where my grandma made homemade bread all the time. I watch her doing it. She will make different types of bread for all holidays. We had fresh bread, and this is how I learned, and I want to share with you different techniques of kneading bread to have, for you to have on your table delicious fresh baked bread. And trust me, it's different when you make it on a bread machine and when you make it with your hands. So my dough, as you might see, is starting to be very soft. When you put your fingers, it kind of bounces, right? It doesn't stick anymore that much, and the feeling, it's already really soft. Again, we will continue a couple more times of stretching the dough. The stretching of the dough, one more time, will give us the effect of soft and thread bread. Adding one more time the second fat, which I use sunflower oil. In the beginning, when we did the liquid ingredients, we added 50 milligrams of butter, and now we are adding the second fat so the dough can absorb it in this phase of kneading. Really soft, really good dough. Absorbing the fat. And now do one more time, the last time of adding the sunflower oil. We want unsensed oil so we can have a aroma of vanilla, lemon zest, brandy, a cognac that I already added earlier. That's why we don't want to use olive oil for our bread. You can see how soft is the dough and doesn't stick anymore. This is the technique, normal technique of kneading a bread. And the last stretch for our dough. I promised you easy with not too much kneading dough and delicious bread, and this is the key for not too much kneading, is this technique of stretching and folding. And of course the other thing that helps to not knead much is the well raised and activated yeast that we showed earlier. There you go. Stretch the dough to have a nice soft dough. Stretch it and fold it and fold it and knead it. May add a little more flour on the bottom. Go. Just have to be patient. It doesn't take very long to knead the bread, but just need to follow step by step the technique that I showed you, and you'll have the delicious bread that your family will really enjoy. And after we added the oil to the dough and we have this soft dough, I like to beat this dough. My family thinks that this is a very important part. It adds more air to the dough and helps the yeast to activate better with the rest of the ingredients. We like to do this and repeat about 30-50 times, depends on you, and it's not difficult. It's a little exercise if you want to see it this way. I will recommend it to add it to your kneading process. This is my dough now, very soft, bounce when I touch it. It is ready to be put in a bowl and raise. It's supposed to increase its volume 2-3 times. I will add a little oil on the bottom of my bowl so it doesn't stick. We'll place my beautiful dough, you might see it's really nice, in the bowl, and now we'll cover it with plastic seal on the top and leave it in a warm place to do the magic and fill this bowl. I'll come back later showing you the product. And our dough is 2.5-3 times bigger than before we let it raise. Knead it couple times. Our soft, really nice looking dough. After that, it's a little sticky, but you can see that there is nothing on my counter. It needs to be soft like that. I divided my dough on 6 bowls that are almost the same size. And from these 3 bowls, we are going to braid them and make a beautiful loaf of Easter bread. I will start with the first one. Make a roll. Make a roll, then tap it this way, and you'll see why in a moment. And stretch a little bit. There you go, I think it's good enough. Like I said, I really love chocolate, so I decided this year to add chocolate to my Easter bread. Before that, I am putting a layer of melted butter and then a layer of this shredded chocolate. I used a bar of milk chocolate, I shredded it, and I'm adding it to my dough to become a delicious chocolate flavor, vanilla flavor, brandy flavor Eastern bread, the way I like it. Now I'm going to cover the chocolate like this in a row shape, and I'll start twisting it to have this effect of threads when the bread is ready. My right hand will twist one way and my left hand will twist the other way, like this. And I will repeat the same with the other two rows. Go. Tap it. Stretch it. Butter, just like the first one. And chocolate. If you do not like chocolate, or if you don't have chocolate in your house, you can just sprinkle some sugar above the butter, and this is perfect. It is going to still create this delicious Eastern bread, and we'll cover the chocolate again in a row shape. If you don't twist this row, it's still going to be a delicious bread. However, you might be having not as many threads as I like to see in Easter bread. And after I bake it, I'll show you what I mean. So one hand twist one way, the other hand twist the other way, nice and twisty. Let it here sit, and we'll do the last. Stretched more for more chocolate. Butter. And chocolate. Or sugar. Like I said, if you don't have chocolate, don't worry about it. Just add sprinkle a little sugar over the butter, and again use the same steps to make a roll. Cover it up, twist it one way, the other way. Okay, now we have three rows, twisted rows, which we are going to braid just like you braid your hair. Move one over the middle one, and again the other one over the middle one, and again repeat the same, and again until the end. And the other thing is, here is the time to twist it a little more while you're doing it. Twist it, and braid braid it. And fold ends. This is beautiful braid we have. Now we're going to make a circle like this. Here we go. This is our beautiful wolf. I have my baking pan with a little oil on the bottom and the sides, which I will place my dough. I will add this is an egg yolk with some oil. Make a yolk wash to cover my bread, which will create this beautiful yellow top. Okay. Next is to add these dry fruits that they've been soaked in brandy since I started the dough in the last an hour and a half now. I have the dry prunes, raisins, cranberry. You can add apricot if you have, or any other dry fruit that you like. They smell like brandy, really delicious. Don't worry about the alcohol in this bread. You can give it to kids, because after you bake it, the alcohol evaporates and it's just the aroma that is left from the brandy. You cover it nice and rich and beautiful, just like I do with dry fruits. They add a little more flavor and taste to the bread. Next, I will add for crunchiest sliced almonds on the top. If you like different type of nuts, you can add walnuts, for example, or any nut that you like better than almonds. I decided to add some crunchiness and nut taste with almonds this year. There you go. Our Easter bread, the dough is ready. Now, here you go. These are my two beautiful wolves. I will cover them with a stretch foil, the clear plastic stretch foil, and I will leave it to rise again and fill in these pans, and I will bake it in my oven on about 380 degrees in my oven, and for about 45 minutes to an hour. You have to watch it, and I'll show you a technique. How do you know that the bread is ready to take it out of the oven? Stay with me. And our dough raised a second time, and it's ready to be put in the oven. You might see how the dough almost fill in the baking pan, and it's good to go in the oven, 380 degrees for about an hour. And I took the bread from the oven. How do you know that the bread is ready? Is to poke the bread with a wooden stick, and when you take it out, you shouldn't have any dough sticking on the stick. Should be dry, just like this. Now we're going to open my baking pan and the ring to show you the final product of our work. This is our Eastern bread. Nice, beautiful, soft and fluffy. Bon appetit! Enjoy this. Look, this is what I'm talking about, the threads. This is what your bread will look like. I hope you enjoy it. Try my recipe. Let me know if you have questions in the comments, and let me know if you like the bread. Thank you.